Good morning, everyone. Um, Trust you all doing great, and you have started your morning on a. My name is Abuchi Okaro. I am the founder of Debt Foundation, an organization that is bringing the good news to everyone. An organization that is bringing a paradigm shift from the conventional way of how the Bible or the Christian world has been viewed to a non-conformist way, non-traditional way. Okay, so it's nice to be here this morning on GNT Live for the Debt Foundation class we'll be having today. Just in case you're joining us for the first time, our Debt Foundation class is held every Sunday by 9 a.m. prompt. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. The last class we had, we promised that we're going to be teaching what consciousness is, and that's why the subject for today, the topic for today, is consciousness and its two aspects: the mechanism for the production of your physical world. Now, what does this mean? We're just trying to tell you that consciousness is what is responsible for all the experiences you are having in your physical world. So all the experiences you're having here as a human being on earth, consciousness is what is responsible for it. And why do we want to, teach this particular topic today? Okay, so the major reason is that we want you to know what has been quietly producing all the experiences, everything you are experiencing today, whether be it good, bad, or indifferent. Something is responsible for every single experience, and that thing is consciousness. That's what the organized Christian world call God. People call it so many things. People can call it the unmanifested, people can call it, but we'll limit it today to what the Christian world call it, which is God. Okay, so before I continue, I want to quickly put out a caveat. I always do this for all my lectures, and I say two things. One is that I am not a pastor, and two is that I am not a religious, a motivational speaker. Okay, I am someone who has come to teach what is called the law, and the law is the law of this consciousness, its nature, and the fact that you are the operator, whether you know it or not. And the tool that will help us teach this law is the Bible. And we don't see the Bible as a religious book, because it's not. Okay? You can argue it, but that's okay. But if you continue to follow our class, and we'll continue to draw from all the teachings of the Bible, the stories, all of the allegories and all of that, you will then begin to see that the Bible is not a religious book, but the greatest psychological book that's ever been written. So what that means in essence is we will be teaching the psychological meanings of the Bible. And by psychology, we're talking about inside of you. Okay, so now let's quickly go to what consciousness is. Okay, all the world, all the things around you, everything around you is consciousness. And consciousness produces everything around you. So basically, what it means is that consciousness is the cause of every experiences around you, be it good, be it bad, as I said, be it indifferent. So it is the cause of those experiences. Then it is also the substances. So what that means in effect is that you and the entire world and everything in it is consciousness. That's what it basically means. And it's that point where the Bible said, I and my Father are one. Then there's also a part where it says that my Father is greater than I am. Okay? So the father-son relationship is the cause that produces your word and all the products of your word. So the sons are the products, the father are the cause that produces it. And this is what consciousness is about. Now, I want you to know that consciousness has two aspects. It has two aspects. One of the aspects is conscious. Then the other aspect is subconscious. I know you must have been hearing about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Okay, these are the two aspects of consciousness, which is conscious and subconscious. There are the two aspects. In reality, in a nutshell, consciousness is the only reality, as I've explained. It is the cause and the substance of the cause. So the cause and the substance, or what you can call the effect, that is product of the cause, are one and the same. That's when Jesus in the Bible said, I and my Father are one. So the cause and this are not separable. But when it comes to creating, right, they tend to be not one. But they are really one. Do you understand? But in the aspect of creating now, they tend to be not one, even though they are one. Okay? So what do I mean by that? We now understand what consciousness is. We now understand there are two aspects of consciousness, which is the conscious and the subconscious. So now, what is the conscious? So the conscious is what we call the mean of consciousness, or what we can call the man of consciousness. It is simply the operations of your five senses. So the reasoning part of you, the objective part of you, the logic, simply put it as the logic, where idea is produced. How? When you see something and your sense of sight is part of your five senses. So when you see something, you have an idea. You immediately have a thought going on and creating idea. When you hear, you immediately have a thought going in and it creates an idea. When you perceive, a thought goes in, it creates an idea. When you taste, a thought goes in, it creates an idea. When you touch, thought goes in, it creates an idea. So this is the realm of the objective world, which is this, world where we live in, the earthly world. It's the realm of the five senses. Okay? And what happens is that the five senses is where idea begins. And idea is part of the creative process. In the cycle of creation, creating, idea, after the senses, then comes the idea, because you need to perceive first. After perceiving, then whatever you perceive, you begin to develop an idea about it. So that is the first aspect of consciousness, the logical mind, your logical senses that are produced by your five senses. Now, the second aspect is what we call the subconscious. So the subconscious is the subjective word. Why do we say subjective word? It is subject, but in a romantic way to the objective word. There's a reason I put it this way. So it's the word of, obviously, logic doesn't work there. Okay? It is not selective. It can also be called the woman, the womb of creation. It can be called the male or the wife. Remember, the objective word, which is the logic word, the reason word, the one I described first, is the male, the husband, okay? But this one is the female. It is the wife that carries the womb of creation. Then it is impersonal. It is impersonal. It doesn't know. It doesn't care. Like there's no this is good or bad in it. Now, those are the two aspects. Then it is not selective. Very important. I need to put this out. It is also not selective, like the objective, the word of sense, okay? The objective word, the male, the one we describe as the male, that's the conscious. It is also selective. It can choose, it can label, it can name, it can select, it can go for A or B, it can separate, and all of those things. But on the side of the subconscious, the womb of creation, it is not selective. Just like the womb of the earthly woman, it is what the man puts in it that comes out. You obviously all know the story of how it is mostly attributed to us, the Igbo men, right? Where they say, we like male child, we like male child. A lot of women have, some have actually lost marriages because they got another woman married on their head because they were unable to give birth to male child, right? But it is not their. We have known via science now, through science, that it is not their fault. It is the man. It is what the man puts that will determine the sex of the child. So women are just. So the woman's womb is non-selective. It is impersonal. It is subject. It's subjective. So it's subject to what the man puts in, and that's what it will just throw out as whether it is male or female. This is the way to understand what the subconscious is, because we will then get into how all your visible world experiences are created through now the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious aspects of consciousness. So how is it created? But before we get there, let's relate to the Bible and see what the Bible says about all of these things that I'm teach here. Okay, as I said, what we teach here at Depth Foundation is the psychological meanings of the Bible, not religious meaning. We know that the Bible, we don't believe, we know that the Bible is the greatest psychological book that was ever written. It's not a religious book. It's a living book, living in the sense that everything in it, it's happening within you right now. Okay, so let's go first of all to Paul. You know, what Paul said, you all know that Paul said the woman should be subject to the man in everything. Now, if you look at this statement by Paul, you would see it from the earthly point of view. But that's not what Paul was trying to say here. It has nothing to do with the earthly point of view. That's why we're saying the Bible is a psychological book. So what Paul was describing here, he was describing the two aspects of the consciousness, which I just explained, the conscious and the subconscious. Now, he says the woman should be subject to the man in everything. So, as I explained, the subconscious is subject to the man, but it is not in tyrannical sort of relationship. It is actually in a sense of romantic relationship. That's why Paul used the woman and man in an earthly sense. That's why he used it as the conveyor to the kind of message he wanted to pass. Okay? So basically what that means is the subjective mind, the subconscious does not it doesn't accept compulsion. Like, you don't force anything on it. No, you don't force it, basically. So that's why that relationship, a man and a woman that is in love, nobody forces anything on anyone. It is done based on romance, love, acceptance. Do you understand? So when Paul said that the woman should be subject to the man in everything, both good, bad, indifferent. If you don't look at it from the psychological meaning, if you look at it from the earthly meaning, you will think that they said the woman should be subject to the man in everything, both when the man is committing a crime, the woman should be subject to it. But in the earthly meaning, that doesn't happen. But if you take it as a psychological message that is being passed through the Bible, you will see, as we go on in this class, you will see that the woman should be subject to the man in everything. You will see what that everything truly means. So that's what the Bible says about it. And another thing, in Ephesians 5, it is said that the husband is the head of the wife. So yeah, truly, the husband, the conscious is the head of the conscious mind. But it is not in the sense of master and servant relationship. No, it's in the sense of union, really. So call it romantic. You can describe it as romantic relationship. That's what it means there. Now, Paul also said, there's a part of the Bible that talked about the great mystery. What did he say? He that loveth his wife loveth himself, and the two shall be one. He that loveth his wife loveth himself, and the two shall be one. So do you see how it is now describing the relationship as a romantic relationship, the relationship between the subconscious and the conscious as a romantic relationship? So what it means is, if you love, so he's saying he that loveth his wife loveth himself, right? So it is better for you to understand the nature of the subconscious, which is your wife. If you understand it and how to operate it, you love yourself as well. Now, let's now leave. I just wanted to draw the Bible, psychological Bible meaning of the topic, conscious and the subconscious. So how? So the question now is, how does this have to do with me, have to do with you? Remember in the beginning, I said consciousness is the only reality. It is the cause the substance. It is what shapes all the physical experiences you have inside of you. So the question is how? Now, the way it does it is that if you think of anything feeling you, what that means is that you have sown that seed in the subconscious, and any seed that is sown in the subconscious will manifest in your world. Now, this has been happening to you. You have been manifesting all your experiences in your physical world. It has been happening already. It's happening right now as we speak. But it's just that you didn't know it. You're not conscious of it. You don't even know. Some of you don't even know what consciousness means, not to talk about the two aspects and all of that. Now, but let's break it down further so that you understand the essence of the class today. When you think of something and the feeling is attached to it, what you have done, you have caused a romantic union between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So it is that point that where all talked about the mystery. It has become one. And when they become one, what happens is seed has been sown. It's just like husband and wife sleeping. In sleeping together, knocking each other, as we always say, you have become one. That's the true point where a seed can be sown. So that's the earthly way it is done. But now, let us go to the relationship between you. That's the earthly way. Now, how does it happen inside of you? Because the Bible uses earthly experiences to convey messages. So how does this happen inside of you? Anything you think and feel, you have enacted on the subconscious mind. So as I explained in the beginning, that the conscious mind is the realm of idea, is the realm of objectivity, the realm of logic, where you think. When you perceive with your five senses, you think. Now, the moment you see something, for example, the next thing that happens, we all know, is a thought. You start generating thought from that thing that you have seen. The next thing, sometimes feelings, based on the kind of thoughts that you're generating, feelings start mixing with the thought. So what that means is the thinking feeling loop. The moment that feeling is infused in any thought, what you have done is you have actually enacted creation of whatever it is that you have thought about and infused feeling in it. So in that sense, there is now a union between the subconscious and the conscious. Once this union happens, what happens, if you remember when I talked about the subconscious not being selective and impersonal. Now, it doesn't matter what the thought that you've infused feeling is. It doesn't matter whether it is good or bad or indifferent. As far as you've attached feeling, you have successfully funneled it into the subconscious mind. And what happens, subconscious mind, as your bosom lover, would reproduce it into your physical world. Exactly how you have put it in. It is not selective and it is not impartial. It will produce the exact, just like the Bible mentioned, we create man in our own image. Now, the way to understand that Bible verse, creating man, God created man in its own image. That's mechanism we're explaining here, that the moment you have had a thought, infused feeling in it, you have sown that seed in the subconscious. The subconscious will then respond by picturing that particular thought in your world, in the image of that, in the image and likeness of that seed that you sow. Let me bring it home with this example. You saw two neighbors fighting. For whatever reason, they are fighting. Then a thought will start playing in your head. There's this one that looks for trouble. There's this. From that thought, the next thing is that thought starts catching feeling. Since this person looks for trouble, you are the troublemaker. This person is a troublemaker. Now, this person is right. So this person is justified. What you're doing is you're what? You're now attaching feelings to the thoughts. Because already, via that feeling, you have taken sides. What you have done is that situation that you have observed with your sense of seeing, as far as you have attached feeling to it, you felt it, you have sown also that seed in your life, it will outpicture. It doesn't matter if it is good or bad. That's the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious that is responsible for all the experiences you're having around you. So basically, what causes the kind of things you experience in the world around you is what you think, one, of yourself, the idea. Remember I told you that the objective world is the realm of the idea. The idea about yourself and the idea you have about others. The moment a feeling is attached to it, feeling is the force or the funnel that moves an idea from the conscious realm to into the subconscious realm. And it doesn't matter what that idea is. The moment it is funneled from that conscious realm downwards to the subconscious world through feeling. Feeling is that highway it takes. So when you feel anything you feel, be it good, be it indifferent, about yourself, about others, you have sown it in the subconscious. And the job of the subconscious, just like a man and a woman, copulation, anything the man sows, that's what he will reap. If he sows a male child, he will reap a male child. If he sows a female child, he will reap a male. It doesn't matter. So because the subconscious is not selective, it is what it receives that it outpictures it in the exact likeness and image. That's why the Bible tells you God created man in his image and his likeness. That's how all the experiences you'll be having around you have been coming about. But because you do not know this law of consciousness and how it's the mechanism on how it produces all the experiences you have in your physical world, you have been blaming your neighbors, you have been blaming your employer, you have been blaming your employee, you have been blaming your friends, you have been blaming your colleagues, you have been blaming everybody. You have been blaming the government. You have been blaming everybody except yourself. And it is yourself that is responsible for all those experiences through this mechanism of consciousness and its two aspects, conscious and subconscious. So what you should be taking away from today's class is, what kind of thoughts do I harbor as true inside of me? What kind of feelings? Because feelings is actually the force that actually drives those thoughts into. So as we say, it is feelings that drive thoughts like Geiger generator into the subconscious mind. So how have I been feeling? feel that you're poor and be rich. The only difference between you today and Obi Kubana or Kubana chief priest, the Odogus, is in the feeling. Nothing more, nothing less. Now also, another essence of this class, or what you should have taken away, is that knowing this law, you now know that you do not need any pastor, any imam, any kind of religious leader to do anything for you. Because after this class, you should have known that power that is in you. You should have known how how consciousness is the one producing all the physical experiences, all your experiences in your world today. And you already know that it is impersonal, active. That's why the Bible said that all things are possible to him that believe. That belief is talking about feeling. Let's move further. What else do you need to know? Now, I understand if I tell you that I do not know that when you begin, so basically, another point you should have learned today is having known what consciousness, having known that it's the one that is responsible for all of your experiences, be it good, bad, or indifferent. Another thing you should know is that you cannot change anything in your world if you don't start changing how you feel, how you think, your thinking, feeling loop. You can't. People make the mistakes of always wanting to change things from the effect, from the substance, and not from the source. So because you know this today, if you want to change the world around you, just like Philippians 4 verse 4 said, if you know those things that are noble, those things that are pleasant, those things that are good, those things that are positive, think of them. It's that simple. You can't be having the feeling of sadness, unhappiness, sickness, poverty, insecurity, and expect to get the opposite. No. According to the law of consciousness, which drives everything in your physical world, you will get exactly what you sow. And that's why the Bible said, whatever a man sow, I told you the moment that idea is feelingly funneled into the subconscious mind, you have sown a seed and it will germinate. So whatever a man sow, that's what he's going to reap. I mean, the Bible said it clearly. And again, I want to point you guys to another part of the Bible that said, to him that have, more is given. You cannot be having, and to him that does not have, it is taken away. You can't be having feeling of sadness and be getting happiness in your life. That's not possible. You need to have that feeling of happiness to be able to attract happiness in your physical world. That's how it works. You need no pastor to attract, to pray to God on your behalf to attract this. No. In fact, going to any pastor, going to any imam, going to any, religious leader or anybody is you reinforcing your current state, your current feeling. Because if you are not feeling the way you're feeling currently, you will have no need for going to all of those places. So today you have learned where the source of everything, no exception, all things are possible to him that believe. Believe is simply talking about feeling. So if you get this point, you have known about the power in you that I've always talked about, and you will now start pursuing that power that is in you. Now let's move further and try to round off as quickly as possible. I don't like my class exceeding an hour. Even 45 minutes, I don't like it. So I have to try and teach everything within a 45-minute time frame. Now let's move further. Now, I understand that it will not be easy for anybody to just hear this message today and start changing the way they see themselves, their concept of self, the idea they have about themselves and others, and start changing their thoughts towards and feeling, their thinking, feeling loop towards themselves and others. I don't expect you to hear this message today, practice it and get it. No. That's why I want to now expose you to the doorways to the subconscious mind. There is a way to the subconscious mind. And one of that way, there are two doorways to the subconscious mind. One is sleep. Yes, sleep. 1/3 of your entire activity on earth here is sleep. Yes, it's a doorway to the subconscious mind, the mind where creation happens. But two is prayer. Yes, prayer. But it depends on what you understand prayer to be. But let's start with sleep. Whenever you are asleep, what has happened as well is that the conscious aspect of subconscious has gone that night to go and sleep with the lover, which is the subconscious mind. Then it carries everything along with it as it goes. So all the ideas, all your reactions during the day, all your feelings during the day, if you don't know this law, then there's something you're doing to yourself you don't know about. Because at the moment of sleep, your conscious mind carries all the things it has experienced deep and goes to sleep with his lover. As I said, that's why in the Bible, this scenario, this conscious and subconscious, is described as husband and wife. Because it's true. Can you open the door? It's okay, I'm open the door. No, close it a bit so that it doesn't reflect. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Maybe you can use something to wedge it behind so that. Sorry, guys. I mean, we're in Nigeria. I've never taken light. So I'm sorry for that slight break in transmission. So back to what we're saying. So for every night that you're going to sleep, you are going to sleep to go with all your contents of conscious aspect of subconscious into the subconscious. That's why the Bible describes the subconscious as man and wife. So all the man and wife, where we read the husband is the head of the wife. The woman should be subject to man in everything. That's what it is saying. It's trying to teach you this thing with the relationship between husband and wife, woman and man. So you go to bed, the subconscious, your conscious aspect of subconscious goes to bed, carrying all of those things. Once it carries them into your subconscious, it plants them there. So whatever mood you go to bed with will be objectified in your physical world. Let's go to the Bible. So as I said, sleep is the natural door into the subconscious. Now, let us read Job 33. It says, In a dream, in a vision of the night, when the deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumbering upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. So whatever mood you go to sleep with, you have sown a seed in the subconscious. So if you had gone to sleep with a mood of sadness, with a mood of unhappiness, with a mood of frustration, with any kind of mood of unpleasantness, you are depositing it into the subconscious. So that mood, what you'll be experiencing in your physical world would be things that will be in tune with that your mood. Then you start revolving around in the circle. That's why two things you should take from this expose is: one, you learn to go to sleep with a pleasant mood, no matter what has happened in your day. Then two, that is the way to access the subconscious mind and create anything you want. How? Let me start with two. How you access the conscious mind. So if, for example, you want to go to bed and there's something you want to change in your physical world that is causing frustration, unhappiness, sadness to you, making you unhappy, before going to bed, let it be the last thing that you're thinking and feeling before you fall asleep, because that would then be the last thing that you carry and go with your lover, which is the subconscious mind. So that's the last thing your conscious mind carries and go to its lover, which is the subconscious mind, and reproduce it in your physical world. So now, the way to really get this thing is every day that you wake up, no religious leader will teach you this because they don't know it. Every day that you wake up, you're acting a predetermined day. What does that mean? It means that every activity that happens that day, you don't longer have a free will. You don't decide, and it has already been predetermined. You're just carrying it out as it has been predetermined. But there is a point where you have a way. That point is, since those things have been predetermined based on your previous impression on your subconscious mind, the way, so those events has already been predetermined based on those your previous impressions on your subconscious mind. But you then have free will only on how you feel about those things. That's why it is possible you can change your feeling no matter what has happened. Don't look back on it. Let the dead bury the dead before you go into sleep. As the Bible said, Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. Let the things in the past be in the past. That's what it means. That's the psychological meaning of it. Let the dead bury the dead. Let the things that are in the past be in the past. Now change your mood, change your feeling before you go to bed and fall asleep. That's the only way you can then change another outcome that will then be predetermined. That's the way of life. So know it today that every time. Now, why do I say change your feeling? Let's go to the Bible. It's there. So in the Bible, it says, come before me with singing and thanksgiving. Enter into his gates. Remember, sleep is the doorway to the subconscious. So enter into its gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. What does it mean? Before going to sleep, the emotion that should go to sleep with you is gratitude. Feeling of gratitude. Feeling of gratitude is a feeling of positive, is a feeling of receptiveness, of reception of something good. What does that simply mean? I mean, basically, when you receive something good, you are thankful for it. So anytime you're thankful, the idea you're impressing on the subconscious is that something good has happened to you. So there's the reason it's specifically mentioned here in the Bible: singing, thanksgiving, and praise. These three things are signs of gratitude. You sing when something good happens to you in appreciation. You give thanks when something good happens to you in appreciation. You give praise when something good happens to you in appreciation. These are all feeling of gratitude. That is what he says. That's what the subconscious is saying here. Come to me with it. That's why before you sleep, you need to ensure that you do away with, it doesn't matter what has happened in the day. In fact, if there's anything that has happened in the day, change that idea to a feeling of thanks. Thanks that it was the opposite that happened that you wanted before falling asleep. Because the moment you fall asleep, any idea, any thinking feeling loop that is on the conscious aspect of this consciousness implants, impresses on the subconscious. And as the subconscious is not selective, it is impersonal, just like when you, whatever sperm chromosome you put into your wife determines the sex. If you put the one for X, you know what comes out. If you put the one for Y, exactly what you put is what you get. That's how this also plays out. Anything you put in is what you get out. So what have you learned from this? One is that the impression, it doesn't matter whether it is pleasant or not pleasant, that you have just before you fall asleep, itself in your physical world. So since you now know this information, before you fall asleep, check. What I will advise from experience really is have that feeling of gratitude, because that's what praise, that's what thanksgiving, that's what singing means. It's an indication of gratefulness. So let the feeling of gratitude be the last. So for example, you had a very bad day, already predetermined based on your previous impressions on the subconscious, really. Okay? So it's just playing out. Your days are already predetermined. It's just playing out. But what you can then determine within that predetermined day is how you feel about what is playing out. So having known this, having this knowledge today, advice is always ensure that you have the feeling of gratitude as, before you fall into sleep, basically. Because sleep is the doorway, one of the doorway to the subconscious mind. Learn that today and begin to apply it. Never go to bed with a feeling of sadness, unhappiness, regret, frustration, anxiety. Because if you do, you will impress that on the subconscious. And it is whatever you impress on the subconscious that will be outpictured in your physical world. God cannot be mocked. Anything a man sows, he will reap. All things are possible, good, bad, indifferent. You already know this. Okay, so let's quickly go to other Bible, verse. So basically, what this law is saying, since consciousness is responsible for all the experiences that you're having, so it is the cause and the substance. Okay, it means that as you are within, so you will be without. The kind of idea you have about yourself, the concept of yourself, the assumption of yourself, the feeling you have about yourself, the thinking, feeling about yourself, not just yourself and others. Remember, I put others. In another lesson, we'll dive deep into why I put others. Because it's not yourself, it's also about others. One example I'll giving you already is that if you see something happen to somebody, so you watch a news or you saw something on social media that happened, and you feel with it, you have implanted that in your subconscious. It is gonna a picture in your world. It's now the thing about our picturing is that it is not that when you feel red, you get red. But what you will definitely get is that you're going to get other situations that are in alignment, in synchronicity with that feeling that you're impressed. So there are numberless ways that thing you saw on social media that you felt you resonated with. There are other, so it's not that that exact situation will come to you, but a situation that will make you feel the way that person you felt when you impress it is what will come to you. So it mustn't be that exact thing. Note that. Okay. So clearly, it then means that everything that happens to us originates from the inside of us. That's where that power lies. So note that. So that's why the Bible will say a man can receive nothing unless it is given him from heaven. Is not from that your picture of heaven inside the sky that you have. From heaven is talking about within you. That's why the Bible also says that the kingdom of heaven is within you. So you will not receive anything unless it's given to you from heaven. You will not receive any good, bad, whatever thing unless it is given to you from heaven, unless it is given to you from the subconscious. And you now know that the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is that subconscious, the womb of creation, the woman aspect of consciousness. That's where creation happens. Do you get it? So let's now finalize on sleep as the doorway to subconscious. The last, so it said here in the Bible that he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Nonetheless, he giveth his lover, his beloved, sleep. Okay, so the subconscious doesn't sleep. What only sleeps is the conscious mind. That's why in the, how does the conscious mind, the conscious, remember, is the realm of logic, right? And logic starts with perception of the five senses. So during sleep, your five senses are shut. So the conscious goes to sleep, okay? But the subconscious is ever awake. It doesn't sleep nor slumber. It's always watching and always ready to receive the impression you put in it. It doesn't matter if it's the impression. So whether you're putting the impression during the day or you're putting it at night, it's always awake. That's what this Bible verse is talking about. So another part of the Bible we should read is, by night on my bed, I sought him whom my soul loveth. I found him whom my soul loveth. I held him. I have not let him go until I had brought him into my mother's house, into the bed, where. So that's why we see the phenomenon, the activities that goes on when you sleep is something you need to start being conscious of and start watching how you feel, especially before you go to bed. Okay, so the last one will be about prayer. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about prayer, prayer is not about the things you say with your mouth. It's less about the things you say with your mouth, basically, but more about belief, which takes us back to what belief is. As I said, it's feeling. Belief is simply accepting that what you are already what you want. So that's why I want to put it to you today that you do not get what you want, you only get what you are. That's the portion where they say, when you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut the door of the senses. Enter into it. It is not shutting the physical door, it is the door of the five senses. Shut it. Close your. Most Christians don't know the reason why they close their eyes when they pray. Prayer is actually supposed to be, actual prayer is meditation, where you shut the door of your five senses. Shut the door, but that's not even, that would be another topic for another day. When we go into what prayer truly means, that's when I'll prove to you that prayer is not this shouting and telling God what to do for you all day. It has nothing to do with prayer. Okay, but that will be a topic for another day. But what we want to really focus on today is that after you have shut the door, your Father who is a secret, would reward you in that secret. But basically, what you should take away today is that, so we're not dealing with the second doorway to your subconscious. Whatsoever thing that you desire, when you pray, believe that you have received it and it shall be yours. So basically, prayer is an act of assuming. It's an act of being and not wanting. Because believing is being it, not wanting it. When you want, you need to be to receive. That's why it says, to him that hath. Where's that? Let's read that loud. To him that have, more is what is given, and to him that have not, it is taken away from him. So you need to have it, you need to be it to receive it, not because when you are wanting it, what you're saying is you haven't got it. So you don't get what you want. You will not get what you want. It is what you are. To him that have, it is given. So that's what prayer is. But as I said, I'll briefly talk about prayer as meditation. Meditative state is what prayer is. When you shut the door of your five senses. But how do you use this in the immediate to start shaping your life, getting what you want, before you can get used to? Because the essence of the doorways to subconscious is how you can immediately start using, getting what you want immediately. Anything you seek, get it immediately. Instead of, because you just heard this message, you can't just go and start. Because just try to change the way you feel and the way you think today, and you will see how difficult. It's something that needs to be practiced over time. We should have been taught this when we were younger. My kids are going to be learning it. Okay, we should have been taught it when we were younger, the law of consciousness. But because you're now probably an adult, you don't know it. You can't immediately. I will tell you honestly, you can't immediately start changing your thinking, feeling loop. But you need to get on that journey. You need to get on that path and start changing it. Over time, you will then become used to it, as I have become used to it. Okay, but in the immediate, the one you can quickly start tweaking now, working on now, is, the moment before you fall asleep. Falling asleep. What is your impression? What is your thinking, feeling loop before you fall asleep? You need to start looking at that. So, if I want A today, every night I go to bed, I should have the feeling that I've already received the A. The feeling I would have if I've already received the A is the feeling that should be my last feeling before I fall asleep. And that way you plan that seed, it will germinate. Now, this is one thing I must put out here as a caveat. The way it would happen is none of your business. The only business you have is to sow the seed correctly. The time and the manner the way it will happen should not be your business. You know why? Thinking about the time and the way it will happen is also accepting that you don't have it yet. You need to be in the realm of you already have it. And how do you be in the realm of you already have it? Is feeling the way you would feel if it has already happened right now. So thinking what time it will happen or how it will happen is saying to the subconscious, is passing the impression to the subconscious that you don't have it. I don't know if you get this. This is very important because once people start practicing this law, the first thing is if they now go to bed with it, the next thing when they wake up in the morning, when will it happen? How will it happen? Who is God going to use to give me this contract? Blah, blah, blah. No, the moment you're thinking that way, you're still within the one thing realm. Now, how do you feel correctly? Is simply ask yourself, how would I feel if I have got you wanted this pen, right? How would I feel if I have gotten this pen already? So the feeling you would feel after you have gotten this pen is the feeling you should start feeling right now to get this pen. That is what the Bible means by to him that have more is given. You need to have the pen already in your assumption of self or others before you can have it in your physical world. That's how the law of consciousness works. So the time should not concern you, and the how is none of your business. Where your business starts and ends is from when your five senses picks up something, create an idea, thinking feeling loop around it, impress it on the subconscious. After it is impressed successfully, as I have taught today, just continue to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Finish. That's all. The time and the distance. Remember, the moment you go to the time of when will it likely happen or how it would happen. I don't even know in my network who is going to do this for me. The moment what you are saying is that you're still within the realm of wanting. You have not gotten to the realm of I am. That's right, here and now. Okay, so let's conclude this now with the prayer, which is the second door to the subconscious. What is that state of prayer that gives you access to the consciousness, to the subconscious? You know that moment before sleep where you're immobilized, but you have not fallen yet into sleep. But if you want to stand up, you can. But you've lost all desire to stand up. You're just that moment, that exact moment is another doorway to the subconscious. In that moment, anything you think and feel will be planted. So two doorways to the subconscious is sleep and moment before sleep. Those are the two doorways to the subconscious. So you can begin to use this one for anything you want at the moment before, and then start working on how to change your thinking feeling loop, because it is changing your thinking feeling loop that you can change your life. Okay. I think that will be the end of today's lecture. Ensure to join us next week, Sunday, 9 a.m. for our lecture. Okay. So that next week, Sunday, I've not decided, but we are likely going to be teaching the true meaning of Christmas. Christmas has nothing to do with the physical birth of any child. Rather, it is the birth of man as God. It's something I'm going to teach. Okay. So it's likely going to be next week Sunday, but I've not decided if it will be next week Sunday. I'll put it out there. But if it is not next week Sunday, I would that class will hold before Christmas, definitely. The class on Christmas will hold before this Christmas. I will teach it, but if I'm not going to be teaching next week Sunday, I would have our normal class, teach something else, regarding the things you need to know about who you are, who you truly are. Okay. I hope I've been able to give you another perspective on something you can use to begin to direct your life on the path you want it. The truth about the matter is that you're already playing with this law as you are now, whether you're informed about it or not. You're already doing it. Okay. But because you're not doing it consciously, anything goes. You're free. People are free to be sad, to be happy, to be not knowing the impact, not knowing that being sad will bring equivalent, will bring experiences that will make you feel sad. Okay? You don't know that all this while. Okay? So it's always good, bad, whatever. You think whatever you want. You feel whatever you want. But if you want to change your life, that is where you go and begin to change your life. I hope you have learned something today. If you have any question, please drop it on the comment section and I will answer it. Okay? But in the meantime, always attend our classes, 9 a.m. every Sunday. Please follow us on Genti page. Okay? Follow us on Genti page and share this video. Let people know about it. What has motivated me to come to start teaching this thing is because of what religion and the way it is practiced in this part of the world has done to our psychic in this part of the world. Okay. I think people should know that they have a power that is shaping their life without them even knowing. So when they know about that power, they begin to use it to shape their life in the direction they want it to go. They won't need anybody. They only need the knowledge of this law and the mechanisms on how to apply it, which is what we have taught to do. Thank you for joining and see you again next week Sunday.